Hello and welcome to our interview today, our part of AGEX's conversation, which is part of our contribution supporting National Armed Forces Week. Today we're going to be interviewing someone who's been a long supporter of AGEX as well as having a distinguished military career. Over to you, Brian.
Hello there. My military connection started when I volunteered to go to Israel during the War of Attrition. I served on the kibbutz 1970 to 1971, attached to Nachal. On my return to England, I joined the Royal Naval Reserve during the Cold War and the Falklands War. I was attached to the Commander-in-Chief Eastern Atlantic at HMS Northwood. During my 19-year service, I worked with service operations, intelligence, submarines, and naval control of shipping. I attained the rank of Chief Petty Officer. I joined AGEX in the 1980s. I'm a past national chairman. Now I'm a vice president and I represent AGEX as a deputy on the board of deputies. I'm serving on the Communities, Education and Interfaith Division. I'm a member of the Royal British Legion, Monash Branch, the Royal Naval Association, and supporter of the serving Jewish Ancient Forces community.
Now, from all of that, we know you've been involved for a long time and you've been involved with the military for a long time. So I'm not going to ask you to tell us about all of that. But what I would like you to do today is just give us maybe one or two incidents that sort of highlight your career or your experience of being part of the armed forces and participation.
I served during a very difficult period. It was the Cold War. The Cold War was much neglected. It was the most frightening period of our time, of our history. I don't think people realize how many times we approached the Third World War, if I could put it in that way, and possibly the total destruction of our planet. I served tracking Russian submarines, ballistic submarines coming out of Murmansk. We used to track them by submarine coming out of Murmansk as they went into the Eastern Atlantic and over to the west coast of America, where they sat and they could have attacked our cities. We used to track them by submarine, we used to track them by aircraft. And there were many occasions, which we really can't talk about, where it came very, very close to a nuclear war. It finished in 1992, by memory, the Cold War, but we were a generation, unlike our previous generation. We didn't fight in a conventional war. It wasn't like the Second World War when 65,000 British Jewish servicemen and women served. It was a silent war, and I don't think it's ever really been understood. We were 4 minutes away from total destruction.
Frightening stuff, I think, and I'm glad you've been able to highlight that, because you're right, it isn't a period that a lot of people sort of now skirt over. Can you tell me, once you'd finished with that kind of work, why did you want to get involved with AGEX? What did AGEX mean to you at that point?
I started with AGEX when my children joined the Jewish Lads and Girls Brigade and at Stanmore. And Stanmore had an AGEX branch, which I joined. I joined in the 1980s when I was still a serving petty officer in the Navy. What does it mean? AGEX serves the welfare primarily of the Jewish ex-service men and women and their dependents. And if I can say that we still have Jewish men and women serving in today's armed forces, and they still have a need for welfare in particular. We have a few cases, I suppose you call them, existing now where people have had combat stress or injury, for example, in the Gulf War or the Afghanistan War. So there is still a need for AGEX in welfare. Plus, of course, we still have the commitment to educate the future generation and the present generation about what we as Jews have contributed to this country and to the armed forces of this country. We also have, how can I put it? We represent something in the wider community. And that's something we're very, very proud of. When we go into the wider community, Ajax and the Jewish contribution is recognised. And I don't think people, we should do a lot more. We do try a lot to do a lot more, but it's a never-ending job. And of course, the last and not least, anti-Semitism. Ajax was the precursor of the CST. In the 20s, we started fighting against anti-Semitism, and unfortunately, we are still doing that to this day.
But it's a battle that we continue, and I think that's one of the things that's most important.
Yes,
it's never something we've stopped doing. It's important to who we are as an organisation and to what we will be in the future. Thank you for that. I just want to thank you again for taking part in these. They're just some short interviews to remind people about what really the contribution of the Jewish community has been, is, will be over the years to the British Armed Forces, and in particular, therefore, the security of this country. So before I go and thank Brian for a last time, I just want to ask one last question. If you were to sum up for me, this is the impossible question, if you were to sum up for me something that you just want to state, to make clear either about your service or to others about the importance of what you have done and what others do, why we should be remembering it, what would that be for us today?
First and foremost, I'm British, a Zionist, but I'm British. I'm Jewish, and I'm very proud, and I'm very proud of the Jewish service to Her Majesty's Armed Forces.
Thank you. I think she's pretty proud of us. Thanks ever so much, Brian. Thank you for your time.